Privates, welcome back, and this is a continuation of my book report about The Shining. Now, like I said in the previous video, if you plan on reading the book or seeing the movie, then it would behoove you to click on a different one of my videos because there are spoilers. But if you do like the video, feel free to drop a like down below or possibly share this with a friend. If you're feeling extra generous, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. As always, stay tuned. Until next time.
Hey, Dad.
It was real weird. So after a while, it's in the movie, it's right after, I want to say, the scene where he snaps on her. Danny's riding around on his big wheel. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes, making sure I'm going somewhat in the right order because like I said, I didn't type these in the right order. So Danny's riding around on his big wheel. They have like I said, room 217 or 237 was off limits. Well, you see him stop by. He just looks at the door. And the next thing you know, Wendy's freaking out, accusing Jack of hurting Danny. Now, in the book, one, Danny, it takes some gumption for him to actually go in there, but two, it's he has to go get the keys, so like the room's not unlocked. All the rooms were locked, so he had to go to the manager's office, get the key to the room, and then go back. And the movie, like I said, is just unlocked. But so Jack freaks out and yells at Wendy, and heads to, it might be the Colorado Lounge. That might be where the bar is or was. But he sits down. Like, you see him walk in, empty. The only person in there is him and the Holy Spirit. So I guess two people. You can never get away from the Holy Spirit. But so he's in there. He sits down, and then behind the bar is a man. I think in the book his name's Lloyd. So hey, they got that right. And Jack asks for a drink. And this is where he mentions his drinking. Also, I don't know why in the book, Jack prefers martinis. Like I said, not like I said, I said it in the earlier recording. It's three ingredients, like vermouth, gin and or vodka, and I forget the third, but it doesn't matter. In the movie, he gets a bourbon on the rocks. I wonder why they changed the alcohol. We can't ask. I mean, we could ask Jack Nicholson, but we can't ask Stanley Kubrick because he's passed away. But my only theory is bourbon. You can put apple juice in something to make it a little bit darker. So, oh, hey, that's alcohol. Whereas if it's a martini, it's just gonna look like water, and the audience wouldn't think that he's drinking alcohol. But when he's at the bar for the first time, there is a masquerade going on, and some random figure who seems like the head of the party keeps yelling to unmask. That never happens. Now later in the movie, he walks back into the bar, and it is full of people. But again, no one's masked up. It's not like a masquerade. It's just like they're there for a good time, not a long time. And then also, like, while this party's going on, it happens intermittently. Like, there's people, masked figures running around the hallways, in and out of the elevators. the only person who saw a masked figure in the movie was Wendy, and that was at the end. She saw a boar human. I don't know, someone in a costume, like a boar costume, fellatiating another man. In the book, I don't think she never hallucinates like that. But so so, and this is more him seeing the figures running around and having a party. In the book, that is a slow descent into madness. But in the movie, he tripped and landed on the crazy wagon without even trying to brace himself. Um, Now, in so it shoots to Halloran in Florida, and so in the movie it shoots to Halloran in Florida, and in the book he's cooking, he's cutting up with a couple friends, but in the movie he's just kicking it in the hotel, chilling, and you see him, it's like he's having like a seizure, it's like a fit, but him and Danny are talking, they're shining, and Grady mentions, this is when Jack goes to the bar the second time. Grady mentions like, "Hey, Danny's contacted Halloran, but you don't hear them talk like you do in the book. Like you don't hear them talk like you do in the book. It's just like Danny is giving, like sending Halloran pictures, and the whole time Halloran's like that, and Danny's like, I know you all are gonna laugh, but it's just two people making faces, having fits. They are not talking. Now, um, and like I said, it's Halloran. He's supposed to be a cook in another hotel. You don't see it. He's just lounging, and a lot of the things, I don't know if this is how, I mean, as a kid playing Danny, they made him seem like an invalid, not like an actual able-bodied boy, and he was like relatively healthy in the book. Um, then, all right. So then we get to the scene. So right after the first time Jack is in the bar, and he goes to room 237 with the killer entity. In the book, Jack notes that there's wet towels and the wet floor, but in the movie, he just walks in, sees a bathtub, and sees an attractive-looking woman. Also, and he doesn't question anything, but and then in the book, so it's set up. The bathroom is, it's like you walk in, on your right is the sink and the mirror, and then not completely, but opposite of that is the bathtub, and then the toilet's in there somewhere. So in the book, he goes in, doesn't see, he notes the towels, the floor, but he just sits in the mirror and goes like, maybe I am losing it, and then sees a hand slip out of the tub. Now in the book, like, it is a old moldy hand, and Jack gets out of Dodge. In the movie, it's an attractive young thing, which but he doesn't question it. But in the book, so in the movie, he walks into the bathroom. It goes sink and mirror, and then toilet, and then bathtub. It's like a long hallway. But and then she gets out and walks towards him all seductively in the movie, and then they make out and engage in romantic touchings, I assumes, but that doesn't happen in the book. In the book, the spirit tries to kill Jack and like chases him out and like chases him out of the bathroom, out of the hotel room. He has to hold the door shut and it's shaking. In the movie, it's just some old lady with festering sores reaching for him, laughing maniacally. Like, that's not how it goes. So then also one thing that they didn't do in the movie, I just thought of this, that they do in the book. They had snowshoes, and Jack would teach Danny how to walk in the snow, because they'd walk to, like, they had a shed that where they had some stuff like sleds and whatnot. So they went snowshoeing. I don't know if that's the accurate verb. They did that quite a bit. But so they say that when in the book he's up there to work on a play or a novel, and it is like throughout the book he's like, yeah, I'm making headway, or I don't know how to flesh this character out, all this stuff. But that's not how it goes in the movie. You just see him sitting there staring like into, like, he's in La La Land. And so come back to where I should have started this whole thing. Not really. Started this last note. But about his writing. So you see what I'm looking at my notes and I just had it. Oh, so second time he goes to the bar, runs into Grady. Grady says, your wife and son need corrected, which means killed. They and that Halloran's on his way. You in the book and in the movie, they got this right. Wendy wanted to take Danny back to Boulder, and Jack's like, you never believed in me, blah blah blah, like accusing her of not infidelity but just like lack of trust. And but so after that, which this is something that they did in the movie that they did not do in the book. So she's like, there's tension, obvious tension, and she walks up to see that all of his typing, and it's like thick. It's like this thick. It's all the same sentence. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. But in the book, he actually has scenes and characters fleshed out and typed out, and he's actually going somewhere with it. This, like I said, they thrust him into madness, and it's like they didn't put a lot of thought into it. Now he, like, this is my favorite scene in the entire movie. After she discovers like the writing, he's I would put it in this, but I'll probably get in trouble for like copyright infringement. But so she is a bat, and this is like, so she is a bat, goes to look at his writing. He's following her, and he's like, Wendy, light of my life. The way he articulated those words, like, it's a dope scene. But so he attacks her. No, this is before that. So while she's looking at his papers, he was getting a call because Halloran called the ranger station. The ranger station was like, hey, yeah, I'll radio them, call back in a little bit. Rangered in, so they were calling, and in the book, Jack goes in there like he's in a fit of rage, um, but they so in the book, in a fit of rage, he picks up the radio and smashes it so no one can use it. In the movie, he just takes out a few not diodes, what are they called? Fuses. Takes out some fuses and it still can't work. Then he goes out to the snow cat, takes out some like glow plugs or spark plugs or whatever, and it but it's he mentions in the movie, he mentions the snow cat, but you don't see him go out there. Like I said, they never stepped foot outside the hotel when they would regularly go on hikes in the snowshoes. They'd go down to Sidewinder. They'd sled. It was just weird. A lot of details are left out. So now back to Wendy finds his writing, and in the movie, he's crazy. So it's all work no play. It makes Jack a dull boy. And then, like, my favorite scene, Wendy, light of my life. I didn't say I was gonna kill you. I just said I was gonna bash your brain. Like it's like a staccato way of he's like Wendy. Like, the articulation, just good job, Jack Nicholson. So in the book and in the movie, she hits him over the head. I can't remember with what in the book, but in the movie it's a baseball bat. And from her hitting him to this next scene, they got right. He hits her, or she hits him. She drags him into the dry food cellar because she thought cold, he might die, blah blah blah, and locks him on in there. And then he goes on he's like, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do this, blah blah blah. He's like, I just got a headache. And it so they got that right. And then they got this next scene partially right. So he's in the dry food cellar, and the hotel is talking to him, and it's like, hey, we should have chose your wife instead of you. She seems to be stronger, more better mental fortitude, all this stuff. He's like, no, I can get it done, blah blah blah, just get me out of here. So Grady gets him out, and Jack is immediately greeted with a martini and a roque mallet, not an axe. A roque mallet looks like a croquet mallet. Now, if you don't know what either of those are, you got a computer in your pocket. Go ahead and look it up for me, big dog. But so he's met with a roque mallet, not an axe. And so at this time, Halloran is on his way up from Sidewinder, and they make it seem like a day in the park for him. But on his way up, he's in a rented snowcat. It is he almost drives off the side of the mountain or a cliff. He almost gets pushed off by a snowplow, gets rescued by a snowplow. It doesn't show any of that. It just shows Halloran leaves Miami, lands in Denver, and then he's in a snowcat driving. So at this time, Jack has the roque mallet, and he's starting to move around the hotel. Now, in the movie, Wendy and Danny, they just stay holed up in the in their apartment. That's not what happens. They it kind of happens in the book, but she hears Jack only because in the book he has he has that roque mallet, but he is beating the walls, causing damage to the plaster, drywall, the wallpaper. Like every time he hits the wall, it's a thwack. It's like a, how's that too loud? Every time, just might be harder than that. Hitting walls, doors, like anything and everything. And in the movie, they keep Wendy and Danny stagnant pretty much, like in their room. But it's like Call of Duty or Fortnite. They keep their feet moving, and the chase takes place all over the inside of the hotel. And this is when they decide to step out at the climax of the movie. They don't go outside. So it's but while that is going on, Halloran shows up. Halloran shows up. When he shows up, Jack knows. It's like the hotel's like, hey, that other cat's here. Now they, in the book and in the movie, they say, well, not in the movie, but in the book, they say the N word with a super hard R. But it is what it is. And so Halloran shows up. Those topiary animals attack him, but nope, not in the movie. In the movie, he just waltzes right on in. He's like, "Hello, hello, anyone here?" Blah blah blah. Knowing full well, because this man's son told you, like, "Hey, my dad's going crazy. We're all gonna die." Waltzes right in. And so, like I said, the final battle never takes place outside unless it involves Halloran. And the way he gets injured in the book is completely different from how it happens in the movie. In the movie, homie just takes a axe straight to the heart, dead. In the book, he gets hit in the face by the roque mallet, fracturing his orbital bone and his jaw. But he's still moving. Like, he's down and out for a little bit, but he's able to catch up and whatnot. And then in the book, Wendy never had a weapon that I can remember. But so Shelley Duvall had a knife. The way she held it was annoying. It was like, I imagine this was a knife. Like, she just held it like this. Her hands were like this the entire time. And she like, horrible. She did horrible, like gasping, being afraid. She's just awful. She's an awful actress. And then so final scenes. Jack is chasing Danny around not the axe maze, the grass maze, and they're running around outside. You know what you don't see? Their breath. That's a oversight. But and then like you've seen the memes of dudes sitting like that because of how cold it is. Well, that's one that's from The Shining, but that's not how Jack actually dies in the movie. In the movie, or in the book, that's how he dies in the movie. In the book, he dies due to neglecting the boiler. Excuse me, and it blows up as he's racing to go like dump the pressure, and or he dumps the pressure in the book, thinks he got there in time, then it blows up and the whole hotel burns down, and you see Wendy, Danny, and Halloran all make it out. But like I said, Halloran died, axe to the heart. Jack died by freezing to death. Wendy and Danny, they just steal Halloran's snowcat and leave. Like they did that man dirty. And so like Wendy, Danny, and Halloran, they all live in Maine or Vermont or New Hampshire after all this. She's recovering because she has a fractured back and some lacerations. Halloran's recovering. He's a cook at a hotel up in the Northeast. Danny's playing by a lake. Like, they live happily ever after. But the way this movie ends is just, you get a shot of Jack Nicholson sitting there all cold, and then Halloran dies, and you see Wendy and Danny hop in Halloran's vehicle, look back once, and then drive off. This was a poor adaptation of a book, and it's only the second or third. It's the third book to movie, book to TV show that I've read, and it's awful. They had all this. They could have done so much with it. It would have been better as like a mini series, I don't know, 12 episodes, cover 3 to 4 chapters an episode. But no, it was just bad altogether. I mean, if you guys like thrillers, you might enjoy it, but I'd recommend it. Read it, don't watch the movie, or you'll be thoroughly disappointed in the movie. But that was this book review. It's July. I've read 6, so I got 5, depending on if I'm done with the current book. By the time this is uploaded, then 6 more. But you guys tell me, give me book recommendations. I have a list, but give me more. I could always use more.